Hello, welcome to Urban Ink Spot. My name is Janine, and today we're going to do a currently inked for January 2025. And I have 7 pens inked up this month. 4 of them are returning from my previous month, and 3 of them are new. Now, I have chosen to continue with these inked pens because I'm not really one to change inks if I am partially through a fill. I usually try to work all the way through the ink fill, so that's why you're seeing these guys still here. I don't have a ton left in these 3. I do have a lot left in this one, and then these 3 are brand new this month. Now, in the month of January, I typically do a lot of forward planning for work. And I use a Hobonichi Cousin in the A5 size. And I usually prefer to do any of my excessive forward planning where I'm flipping a lot between pages within my planner. I typically prefer to use a finer point. So both of these pens, you will notice, do have a finer point. And of course, this pen also has a very fine point, which kind of counted against it last month. So, you know, I'm interested to see if the overall ratings for this pen changes for January 2025. But then I also added in a pen with a broader nib so that I could have a more flowy writing experience. I'm going to slightly change the format of how I capture my pen and ink combinations, where I'm going to do the swatch on the right-hand side and I'm going to write on the left-hand side of the page. That way, if I do want to compare the ink swatches across future months, it is not as hard as having to flip my page over like this and try to, deal with it that way. So you'll notice a slightly different format, but most of the elements are going to be the same. So this is my first gold nib pen that I got from Yoseka Stationery. And this is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim in the Fire colorway. And this is a broad nib that I had adjusted slightly by Kirk Spear from Pen Realm in January 2024 at the Philly Pen Show. Okay, well, this is not what I expected to see. I just inked this pen up, and I did dip the entire nib into the ink when I was inking it up. So let's see if a little bit of priming, oh, that's a lot of priming. Oh, wrong direction. That was almost an inky disaster. Okay, let's see if this has... Okay, well, this one doesn't want to write, so let me put this video on pause quickly and I will be right back. Okay, let's give this guy another Okay, this does not look like it is going to write. So I'm going to give this guy a little bit of time. You know what, let me move these pen and inks over to the front. And I'm going to sit this guy at a little bit of a slant there, and let's see if I can get that, encourage the ink to move down to the nib and feed. This is a Muji pen, and I bought this pen sight unseen. I went to the store and I saw a little sign that said they had fountain pens, so I picked it up. And this pen is a metal pen. It looks like it's kind of a brushed metal, and you've got some texture here on the grip. I don't even know what size nib this is, but it's a pretty fine nib, so it's a fine nib writing experience. And like I said, when I am doing my planning in the beginning of the year, the forward planning, I do like to have a fine nib to do a lot of planning in my Hobonichi A5 cousin. So this is the Muji pen. I think it is a fine nib. And this is inked with Yoseka Stationery Origin series, and it's ink number 1. This has a pretty narrow grip section. It's a pretty narrow pen overall. So we'll see how we get along this month. This is my Pilot Vanishing point, and this is in a fine nib as well. And this is inked with Pilot Iroshizuku Murasaki-Shikibu. And I bought this because I saw it on another content creator's channel. I actually saw it on a few different channels, and I thought, oh my goodness, I am going to love that purple ink. So I bought a full bottle without trying it in a sample ahead of time, and I didn't love it. And so at the last Big Apple Pen Club, I gave away some very generous samples of this ink to other people who were at the meetup. And later on that week, I was flipping through my journal and I saw a writing entry with this ink, and I thought, wow, that's a really great ink. So I decided to put it into this pen and just give it a go and see what I think about it. It has been an enjoyable writing experience. It's a really nice flow from this pen and nib. So I'm hopeful that I will enjoy using this combination this month. The next pen that I have inked is my returning Sailor Pro Gear Quasar, and this is also in a fine nib. And this is inked with Sailor Kasasagi. I do like the feedback of a Sailor nib. I wonder if this does not want to write for me so well because I had lotion on my hands when I was drawing the grids. I wonder if that's what we're experiencing with this pen. Let me see if we have a different writing experience here. Maybe. Okay, so this is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim. Now I added some water to the nib and feed in order to encourage this to write a little bit better. So it's possible that this is coming across lighter because I did that. This is in a broad nib. And this is inked with Lennon Toolbar, Sesame oil. And then my remaining 3 pens for this month, you have seen these before. This is my Schon design in a medium nib. Look at how juicy that medium nib is versus the broad nib for the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Japanese nib versus a more traditional nib. And I'm really curious to see how that's going to work out. So this is Schon Design Pocket 6 in faceted brass. And this is in a medium nib. And this is inked with Sailor, Manyo, Shirakashi. This pen is my TWSBI VAC 700R Mini. A little bit of a hard start here. And this is in a cursive italic. I am actually not surprised that I'm having a little bit of difficulty. Oh, you know what? I have this chamber sealed off. Probably not the pen's fault. Probably user error here. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm not really surprised that I was having a hard start on this because this is a heavy sheener, so I thought it might have been the ink, but it looks like it, again, I think it might have been user error. So this is the TWSBI VAC 700R Mini with the cursive italic nib, and this is inked with Birmingham Pen Company Interstellar Bronze. And the final pen that I have inked for this month is also a TWSBI. This one I added towards the end of last month, and I have a very full fill of a very, very, very shimmery ink. This is the TWSBI Diamond 580. In the Iris colorway in a medium nib. And this is filled with Colorverse shiny black. And when I added this ink in, you can check my December currently inked. Oh, actually, it wasn't my currently inked. It was my December progress report, where a few different times I was like, my goodness, this writing experience has really been so much fun, except for the fact that the shimmer particles periodically, like probably 3 or 4 times in a week period, I was having to floss the tines, which, you know, that's fine. That's part of fountain pen maintenance and part of the experience sometimes when you're using shimmer inks. I didn't love it, but I loved the outcome enough where it was totally fine. I didn't really have a major concern with it. So let's get a closer look at how each of these pen and ink pairings are looking right now. So I will weigh in on this one, see if it was just, you know, a fluke on this writing experience. Hopefully it won't be too challenging to use, but that is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim with the Lennon Toolbar Sesame oil. And I will give the page a little bit of movement here, so hopefully you can pick up some of the sheening on the Interstellar bronze and the shimmer particles in the Colorverse shiny black. So there we have it, folks. I will be weighing back in towards the end of January to let you know how these pen and ink pairings have gone. And I will be adding a numeric, I will be adding a letter grade and also a numeric grade across 5 different categories, and we will see how each of these pens do from an aesthetics perspective, from a writing experience, from a reliability perspective, also shareability and overall personal enjoyment. So I will be measuring all of these against that same criteria, and we'll weigh back in at the end of the month. So thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.